All right, this is Krovan back with Rias Nia once again for the match Roughnecks versus Cult of War. Roughnecks have brought 2 Abaddons, 2 Armageddons, 1 Dominix, a Saber, and 2 Thrashers.
And Cult of War fielding the same team from last time with 2 Golems, 2 Widows, a Vulture, 2 Thrashers, 2 Cormorants, and a Catalyst.
Yeah, exactly the same setup as last time. I had to double check that. And we are go in local. It looks like the Roughnecks team came in at 0 with the Cult of War team coming in at range. And we're going to see if these battleships are able to bring their DPS to bear on the Cow team. It looks like early on they've picked out one of the Widows as their primary target.
Yeah, and slowly we're seeing both teams dropping drones. At the moment, the Rage team, the Roughnecks, are dropping mostly armor bots, a few Warden 2s out of, it looks like, the Dominix, and it looks like we've got mostly Warrior 2s and some ECM drones coming from the Cult of War team.
Yeah, now that Widow not having much trouble keeping up with the damage that's on him right now. Now it is possible that some of these battleships are jammed and having trouble, but coping well. Meanwhile, one of the Armageddons for Roughnecks, Foxy Tango, is taking armor damage down to about 85%, with both Thrashers for Roughnecks also taking significant damage at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Foxy Tango is receiving a whole lot of energy reps from some heavy armor maintenance bots as well as some cap transfers from the rest of his team. Tio Key in the Thrasher in about half armor, Zal Bands in also a Thrasher at low armor. Looks like their local rep, though, getting a little bit going up, or possibly from some drones, and we've lost one of the Thrashers for the Roughnecks. Meanwhile, a Cow Cormorant about to hit structure.
Yeah, no, that Armageddon's still dropping down. The second Thrasher for Roughnecks now taking structure damage, just about to pop, and down he goes, as well as the Cormorant for Cult of War. Foxy Tango still at about 10% armor hanging in there, and it looks like, I can't quite tell if the Abaddons, yeah, it looks like all of the laser ships are firing right now. Maybe one of the Abaddons isn't, but there's still not appreciable DPS landing on the other side on Cult of War. They do have some cap going around, so they're able to run local tanks very effectively, but just not a lot of DPS coming out here as Foxy Tango now in structure.
Yeah, Foxy Tango dropping.
And now we're seeing one of the Thrashers for Cult of War taking armor damage, down about half armor. You know, Roughnecks not really switching targets up, it doesn't seem like, not targeting the small ships that we've seen do a significant amount of E-War in the matches leading up to this. I'm not real sure what the plan is here, other than, well, what they're currently doing is losing, so we'll see if they can improve upon that as the match goes on.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of them are definitely shooting Crusader King, one of the Cow Thrashers, but they're just not doing any actual damage to him. It looks like he's, you know, either just got a small enough signature radius or moving just fast enough to keep alive for the most part. He's sitting at about half armor, but he's regenerating a little bit of shields despite getting shot at. So there's, I mean, I'm not seeing the effects for tracking disruptors, but at the angle, the effects are mixing in with the missile fire.
Yeah, and it is, looks like, I thought I saw radio coming off one of those Abaddons, but I think it was a trick of my eyes. Oh, nope, those are red lasers coming off of that Abaddon, so maybe a mix of different laser setups. Meanwhile, that second Armageddon for Roughnecks just about to hit structure. They are absolutely taking a beating from the Caldari ships remaining for Cult of War right now, and I mean, despite bringing the same setup, evidently it's working for them, as now Iron Cross and the Armageddon drops to about 50% structure, and adios.
Alright, I am now seeing some sensor dampening, some remote ECM boosting, as well as a whole bunch of tracking disrupting coming from the Cult of War team. And it looks like that's been hurting the Roughnecks pretty bad in terms of their tracking, since they've been focusing, or most of the fire has been focused on their turret-based ships.
And now we're seeing that Dominix smart bombing, and I'm going to take a closer look at this Abaddon, because I swear it's a mix of pulse and beams on this Abaddon. We actually saw a little bit of that in AT7, as I recall. And now we're seeing Steve Bailey's Dominix for the Roughnecks taking about, he's down to about 75% armor now. still with, so we've got Roughnecks still with the two Abaddons and half a Dominix, with Cult of War still having the 2 Golems, the 2 Widows, the Vulture, the Thrasher, and a Cormorant remaining on the field, as Steve Bailey now just taking an absolute beating and down to about 20% armor already.
Man, that's got to be kind of embarrassing, having the commentators notice that you're, fitting half beams, half pulse, because that's just not going to be very effective in this tournament. Steve Bailey starting to dip into structure. Meanwhile, Cow really not seeing any damage on just about anything. They've got a Cormorant with a little bit of shield damage. They've got, the Thrasher just taking about 50% shields, but Steve Bailey still dropping in his Dominix into structure. Damage control, but it's not lasting very long as he hits about 40% structure remaining.
Yeah, and it's still dropping into structure now. He's just about to drop as this volley comes in, and down goes the Dominix. So we've just got the 2 Abaddons left for Roughnecks. And, I mean, to come to their defense just a little bit, we did see some of this in Alliance Tournament 6. We did see some efficacy out of it because what you've got is a mix of ranges. The Abaddon is a very slow, ponderous ship, and we've seen matches where teams have had a little bit of trouble taking out ships late in the match that get further away. So, I mean, there is some utility in putting at least a couple of beams onto your Abaddon for something like that. It still does a ton of damage. I wouldn't do it. I still think it's not the right choice for this tournament, but it's not the most fail thing you can do. I mean, I think we saw Notoriety bring the most fail thing you can do, as that Abaddon now 40% armor.
Yeah, Arch had taken some pretty heavy fire from the Golems into about 20-30% armor right now. Just to respond, it's always a bad choice. The whole advantage of Ammar is that they're incredible mid-range. You can swap crystals very quickly. If you really need range, bring a different ship. I mean, the Abaddon with half pulse, half tackies is just a terrible, terrible decision. I wouldn't do it on TQ, I wouldn't do it on CC, I wouldn't do it in the Alliance tournament.
Okay, well, you win. As Archer now hitting structure, he's down to about 75% structure, taking another couple volleys, and down he goes. So just the 1 Abaddon remaining for the Roughnecks against 2 Golems, 2 Widows, a Vulture, a Thrasher, and a Cormorant. And now they're going to start going ahead and beating down on that last Abaddon.
Yeah, the Abaddon's just, I mean, it's slowly taking the missile damage. It looks like he's been shooting just a little bit at one of the remaining Thrashers for the Cult of War team, really not doing anything. At this point, he's probably got so many track disruptors and damps on him, there's just not a whole lot of hope of him getting a shot off. I don't see any fire from him right now at all. It does look like he's being target painted, though.
Yeah, it's and that could make the difference. Target painting this ship the size of Madagascar, really. So he's down to about 15% armor now. Not going to be much longer for the world, and we will see Cult of War walk away, despite bringing the same setup again, proving how effective their setup is. We haven't seen a lot of Black Ops. The few Black Ops we've seen have mostly been Widows. I think we saw 1 Ammar and 1 Galenti Black Ops, but they kind of failed. So now we're looking at the Widows, doing reasonably well, as now that final Abaddon into structure, and he will be going down.
All right, Madagascar is closed for business, so shut down everything, and back to you, Soundwave.